Hello, hello. It has been a while since I have made a video. I don't even know how long, several weeks at least. And I guess I want to talk a little bit about that, but that's not the topic of the video. Um, I really struggle with being on camera normally, actually. But I think in the beginning when I started making the videos, I I didn't care for some reason. It really didn't register the same way it normally does. Probably because I was talking about something that I had like a really deep interest in, and so my brain was more focused on that topic as opposed to. I don't know if this is rubbing against the mic actually. What was I saying? I was more focused on the topic that I was talking about as opposed to like registering the fact that I was on camera and like other people would see it. But yeah, once that kind of ran out, my brain was like, actually you are on camera, and then once my brain latched onto that, I was like, oh, actually this is really uncomfortable. And I felt it even in my last video. I think the last video I made was about the self-care plan, and I think I started talking about it where I was like, I feel so uncomfortable, and it was the camera thing catching up to me and me realizing even with notes, like I wrote some notes down just to help keep my brain on track of the things that I wanted to talk about. It just feels so overwhelming to be on camera, but I just feel like this is such a good topic. Maybe this will carry over and help me through it. But anyway, I wanted to talk about staying home, because I think as an autistic person, as an adult, I think this is something that probably a lot of people go through different stages in their life of kind of like having more times when you're at home a lot more. And I don't know about other people, but I definitely feel like there's some shame that comes along with that sometimes can be hard to work through. So I wanted to talk about that and kind of unpack that a bit, because I feel like shame sucks and it gets in the way. So let's talk about it. I went through a pretty hard burnout like a year ago, and since then I've it's really forced me. Well, that's the thing that kind of led me to get the diagnoses. Um, I say diagnoses because it's both the autism and ADHD diagnoses, whatever. Um, and then after that, it was like I finally started having the right words and the right tools to be able to navigate spaces differently. So after that, I feel like I kind of plan my time a little bit differently now, and I realized that like before that, I would kind of operate under the assumption that like being out and doing things was better than not doing those things, or like getting out, you know. And maybe part of that is like the ADHD part of like wanting new things, like a new stimuli. Um, or like, I don't know, just getting out and trying to do different things. But I think I realized like most of that really is just like ableism, and kind of like thinking that being out doing things is better for you than being at home, or being home alone, or like just spending time doing something by yourself. I think there's a lot of stigma around that's bad for you somehow. Like a little bit is good, but not too much, because if you get too isolated, you're gonna like it's seen as almost like a social failure to spend too much time alone or spend too much time at home, even if you don't live alone. Like being at home more, it's almost seen as like you're giving up on things, or like you're giving up on like doing more exciting things, like going out. But it's like, I think for autistic people it can be really different. Like it serves a different purpose, and I feel like I've been doing that a lot lately, of like spending a lot of time at home. And I have a different take on that, because there is like that, there's a little bit of that shame of like, oh, should I try to go out? Like, should I try to go even just like on a walk, or like go out and go do something? Like, is that better for me? But I think it really depends on your situation, and using that as just like a general standard of like, that's better for you, it doesn't necessarily apply. I think it especially doesn't necessarily apply for autistic adults, because there's a lot that comes with going out. There's a lot of sensory stuff. There's a lot of the planning of it. If you drive, like, there's the navigating part of it that can be difficult. Making the transition from like doing what you were doing to going out to do something else, or leaving, that can be difficult. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that like neurotypical people don't have to think about these things nearly as much. So like it comes at a higher cost, and I think it's totally okay to forego those things if it's too difficult. Like, if you think of it as like an injury, like a physical injury, or like you're in pain, like would you be upset at yourself for not getting out as much? Like, no, you just like physically can't, right? Like you're limited in a different way. So like there's no need to shame yourself. So I think that's the same for like invisible disabilities. Like it's easy to fall in that trap of like, oh, you're just like taking the easier way out of just like not trying, or like not trying to grow, or like not trying to do something, and you're just giving into like, I don't know, living an isolated life or something. But there's more to it than that. And I think sometimes there is that isolation of like, I do feel that way. There are definitely times when I do really feel that way, but I think I feel like I'm getting off track. It's hard to like talk on camera. But the FOMO aspect of like, if you don't know what FOMO is, it's like, what does it even stand for? I don't even, fear of missing out. There is definitely that, but what am I trying to say? This is so hard. God, maybe I should have just made a voice note instead and not done the camera stuff, but I'm trying. Yeah, I feel like there is definitely like the FOMO aspect of like being at home more and feeling like you're missing out on other activities that you could be doing to enrich your life. But at the same time, I kind of treat being at home more similarly to what burnout does for you. Like when you go through a burnout, right? It's your body is like forcing you to shut down, to take like a forced rest. And even though it doesn't feel good, it serves the purpose of forcing you to reevaluate like how you've been living your life. And now when you go and do something where you previously were doing it in a way that was burning you out, and it's not to say like this is your fault or something, it's just like just the way that life is organized, it's burning you out. But nevertheless, the way that you were going through that thing was burning you out, and now you're in a state of burnout. And now if you're going to go out and do something, or not even physically going out, but just like doing something that is taxing to you, you have to do it differently now, because the way you were doing it before was burning you out. So now you're like in a state of like stop, like state of like, we're coming back to home base and we're starting over. We're starting over from scratch. And now moving forward, you have to do things differently now. So even though physically it doesn't feel good, it's an opportunity to like shift how you're doing something, how you're living your life, how you're navigating spaces, how you socialize, how you take care of yourself, because that going forward needs to look differently than it was before. So I kind of treat being at home as kind of like that. It's kind of similar to like a forced shutdown of like, okay, here's what I was trying to say. So now I feel like when I go do something, I go and do those things with a lot more intent than I used to before. Either because now I have learned that I need different things, or I have different things, like more sensory tools that before I didn't even know about that. Like I didn't even have those things. It wasn't available. Like I didn't have that, and I didn't even think that I needed those things. So now when I go out, I always have like, I have my purse, but I have like more stuff in it. Like I will always go with more fidgets. I bring my loops, my like noise reduction loops. I will usually bring these, my heavy duty headphones. Especially if I'm doing something where like I don't really need to like talk to people, like if I go for a walk or something, I'm gonna bring my headphones. It's just more, I can't really do it if I don't now. Like it's just way harder. If I go to, I don't know, like a store or something, like I'm gonna bring my headphones. My sunglasses, they're not technically sunglasses. They're just blue light glasses. They're like colored lenses that filter out blue light. Amazing. I love that. And you don't have to get like super expensive ones. I think I got some for like, they were like $12 or something. There's definitely ones for like cheaper as well. I got several, because I think two of my biggest sensory sensitivities are sound and light. So having something that helps me deal with sound in an environment and the light, so helpful. Like I can't imagine not having those things now. The sound is definitely helpful for navigating like a crowded space or like an exposed space where I just feel very exposed. Having blocking sound helps me feel like I have my own little space, comfortable space, safe space, whatever. I feel a lot more grounded. But the light, the glasses, it doesn't just help with places that are brightly lit. It really helps with socializing, which I didn't realize until after I got them. The eye contact thing. Like, I don't really make much eye contact, but if I am going to, having the glasses makes it so much easier. There's just something different about it. I don't know if it's psychological, like it just feels like there's a physical barrier between my face and the other person's face, or like their eyes maybe, or it's just sort of that. No, I think there's definitely like a physical aspect to it, because it's like, you know, like when you take a picture and you can change the filter to like super grainy, and you can see like really like it makes the details of a picture like very harsh, almost like it's hard to look at a picture when it's like very like, I don't know, maybe grainy is not the right word, but like just very like harsh light filter. That's what it feels like when I'm looking at people and like talking to them. It's just so much like visual information coming at me that I cannot process what they're saying. So I have to like look away, but that's also like a thing that's hard to deal with, is like being aware of the fact that like depending on who you're talking to, they will probably take that as a sign of you're not interested in talking to them, or you're being rude, or just like there's something different about the way that you're interacting that people will notice. And it's hard to just be okay with that and do what you need to do. So having a little buffer, like having the glasses, does help make that difference a little less visible to people, because people are like, oh, you're just wearing glasses. Like it's almost like it's easier to hide the fact that I'm not making as much eye contact because I'm wearing glasses, and the light is like a little bit less harsh. So when I do look at like someone's face or something, like it's just a little bit softer. Like there's just a little bit less like intensity in the visual information that's coming to my brain, that just makes it a little bit easier, I've found. Yeah, so how did I end up talking about, oh yeah, sensory stuff. Okay, so going out with intent, having those tools always available to me in my bag is something that I have needed to change about the way that I go out now. So that's one thing, the sensory thing. The second thing is navigating social spaces differently and learning different techniques. Like, for example, if I'm hanging out in a crowd or like a group, and I know that I'm going to get overstimulated or just overwhelmed by the general disarray. That's how it feels. Like it's just too much disorganized information. It's just hard for my brain to like process all of that. It's taxing, it's painful, it's just exhausting. If I know that I'm gonna feel that way, now that I'm like spending a lot of time at home, when I go and do those things, I realize like, because it is so hard for me, I'm okay with just telling people like, I'm just gonna go take a break real quick. Like, I'm gonna step away, go to this other room. I know I'll have my headphones. Maybe I'm like reading something. Like, I've been reading a lot, so that's something that helps really ground me. So maybe I'll just go use my headphones, block out noise, and just read for like a half hour or 20 minutes or whatever, however long that you want to do it, and just take a break. And like, that's just something that I need to do sometimes. I haven't done that yet. I haven't like test driven that technique yet, but I think it would be super helpful for me to have that available as a way to deal with a crowd or like just a group. I'm like hanging out in a group and like it's just a bit too much. I feel I'm having a hard time regulating, and this is just too much. I need to take a break. So I can just do that. So whereas before, it's like I had no idea that was even like a thing. Like I didn't know that was an option until I really started to think about it. And like, I think maybe I learned that from somebody else. Like I heard that as like a thing, and I was like, oh, that sounds like really, like it would be really helpful. And I'm sure there are, oh wow, I have a cut. I should probably clean that. Oh yeah, I did know that I had that. Okay. Anyway, yeah, having more techniques to help navigating overwhelming social situations, in addition to having sensory tools to help me with just like sensory stuff. Because sometimes that's not enough, right? Like sometimes like when I hang out in like a group, I will always have my loops with me. I'll usually wear one, because wearing two, it's like it makes it a little hard to hear people. So I'll usually wear one. And I started using the glasses now. That does help. But like still, there are times when I'm just like, this is not cutting it. Like this is not enough. I still feel really overwhelmed, especially when I have like, when I'm in like a conversation with somebody that isn't related to like a topic that I can really get into, like something that I would have like a like a special interest or even something related to my special interest, like just kind of having like conversations about like what's going on in our lives, like um it can be really overwhelming when the other person's communication style is very direct and very, I don't even know how to describe it, like emotionally invested, like not that we're talking about something emotional, but just like their presence in the conversation is very like they're making a lot of eye contact. Their body is like facing you. There's just a lot like coming at me. I don't talk that way. When I have conversations, my brain is more focused on the actual subject that we're talking about. I'm not really looking and making a lot of heavy eye contact. And I don't feel a need to, like, I don't know, like, I don't, this is so hard to describe. I don't really feel a need to, like, I don't need you to look at me. So I don't feel like I need to make a lot of eye contact with you. So this is something that I feel like I've noticed a lot, and this is a huge generalization, but a trend that I've noticed for myself is that when I talk to neurotypical women, it is really difficult because generally their style of communication is a lot more front facing, eye contact, very like the thing we're talking about is not really what we're bonding about. The thing that we're talking about is just a platform for us to bond emotionally. And I'm picking up on your feelings, so like I would think that you would be picking up on my feelings, and then like the thing that we're talking about isn't really the point. We are bonding in a different way. I get that that's what's happening for the other person. That is just not how I socialize. So when I talk in a conversation, generally, the thing that my brain is focused on is the actual subject at hand. It's the thing that we're discussing. My brain is focused on talking about the thing. Subject-oriented conversation, I guess that's what it's called. I'm not really paying attention to, well, I can't even say that I'm not paying attention to it, because it's not like I don't care about the other person's feelings. I really do. I just don't pick up on those things through their facial expressions or neurotypical body language because I'm autistic. So if somebody is like using a fidget, and talking about something, I will be able to pick up on the fact that they're probably a little bit antsy or a little nervous. There's like some energy there. That is way easier for my brain to register and like read, as opposed to just somebody sitting there talking about something and maybe their facial expressions are trying to express that they're sad about it, but I am not picking up on that because my brain is focused on the topic that we're talking about. It's not that like I don't care. It's just my brain cannot like register all of that quickly and be able to process all of that because it's so much sensory information, and I just don't register it that way. Like if you want to tell me that you're sad and you want to tell me how you feel and talk about it, I would love nothing more than to help you like talk about it. But if you're not putting it into words, I'm probably not going to pick it up unless you're autistic and you are expressing it through your body language, which is the same way I would express emotions, which is like through stimming, like, moving around, kind of like that. To me, that I can register. I can register that. My brain is like calibrated to pick up on your emotions because that's the exact same way that I express my internal state. I'm going to make a video about this, my next video, because there's an article, actually, I'm going on a tangent, but I don't care. There's a really, really good research article that talks about stimming. This is crazy to me that this just came out January of this year, 2025, and this is like breaking research because it's like, Yeah, like autistic people have been existing like for forever, and the science is just now catching up to the fact that stimming is not just self-regulatory activities and actions. Like, it actually serves a social function. Like, when you stim in front of another autistic person, you're actually communicating socially. Like, you're not just regulating yourself, it actually serves to express your feelings. And the other person is, whether they're aware of it or not, they're able to pick up on how you feel. So stimming is to autistic people as facial expressions are to neurotypical people. It's not just something that you do to feel good for yourself. It actually serves a social function. And I'll make a video about this where I want to like break down the study. But that's essentially what the study is. Maybe I'll link it to this video so that I don't have to make another video about this. Because being in front of the camera is hard, not because I don't want to make a video, but yeah, so that's like a big social difference that I've noticed is really, really difficult for me to navigate. And it doesn't matter that I have loops and glasses. Like, if I'm in a conversation, especially with neurotypical women, it just instantly feels super overwhelming if their style of communication is much more, I say direct, but to me it feels really indirect because they're not actually saying what they're thinking. They're just talking about their life, but they're trying to express how they feel through facial expressions and body language and like tone of voice without actually saying in their words what they're really feeling. And to me, that's just like so indirect. But again, that's relative, I guess. But my point is that sometimes when you're stuck in a social situation that is difficult for you to navigate, it's okay for you to just stop and take a break. And it's not rude. Like, it's medical. Like, give yourself a break. It's okay to just like stop and take a break and reground. If someone were having a panic attack, would you expect them to just sit there and start talking about their day and like listen to you talk? No, like, you would give them what they need because they're having a medical difficulty, right? Like, just so treat feeling overwhelmed the same way. Because if you are overwhelmed and you keep pushing, you're going to either have a meltdown or a shutdown, or you're going to have one later. If you just keep pushing, you're going to like mask through it. You're going to feel it later, and you may not process it for days, but it's going to hit and it's going to feel not good. So it is medical, even if it is like delayed, which is something that I experience a lot. When I'm just trying to like push through a situation, I will suppress it and mask it until several days later, I will start to feel the effect of it. And just because I'm not feeling the immediate physical reaction in the moment, it doesn't mean that it's not medical. It's not in my head. I will feel the physical effect of it later. So it's totally fine for me to like deal with the situation as if it's like a serious medical issue and to like act accordingly. So I would recommend, like, if you feel that way and you feel like you want to just take a break, just be like, hey, I'm autistic. I don't know if you knew that, but I'm having a really hard time regulating right now, and I'm just going to take a break. So I'm going to go over here and just do what I need to do. And I'll be back later. Or just be like, this is a bit too overstimulating for me. I need to take a break. And you don't really need to justify it any more than that, because I think just saying that is like, you're giving people an explanation. You're not being mean or rude about it. You're not just walking away and being like, I'm out, like, I don't want to deal with you. It has nothing to do with like not wanting to spend time with the person. It's just that the way that people are engaging is too much for you, and your brain just cannot process, and you're getting overwhelmed and overstimulated, and you just need to take a break. And that's totally okay. So yeah, so there's that. Hopefully I'll learn some other social techniques that will help, but there's the sensory stuff, there's the helping to navigate through social situations. That's different now, but also like I think spending so much time at home lately has also helped me realize how much I do mask when I'm in certain situations, because now when I go out, I can feel the stress of it a lot more because I spend so much time at home in a safe, comfortable environment. When I get myself out of those situations, like I can feel the stress of it a lot more. It's more noticeable to me. And like certain situations, I just have a hard time not masking. Like, for example, going to the gym is really starting to get kind of hard. I actually canceled my membership because I just found myself not going nearly as much to justify paying for it. So I canceled it. And I realized it's like the sensory stuff. One, it's the sensory thing, but two, it's also just feeling this like need to pretend like I don't need my sensory tools. There's still some shame that I feel like I'm working through of like even if I bring my sensory stuff with me to the gym, for example, like let's say I'm using my headphones, or like I have my loops, or maybe I want to use my glasses to filter out some of the light, because gyms tend to be like really brightly lit places. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of moving stuff going around, like there's a lot happening. And I feel this need to pretend like I don't need my sensory stuff until I get uncomfortable, and then I'll reach for those things, almost like it's a last resort thing. Whereas like if I'm at home and I am overstimulated, I will just automatically reach for my headphones, or like if I'm vacuuming, right? The noise of it is going to be a lot. So I just automatically put my headphones on. That's not something like I don't feel shame about because I'm just at home. But the same sensory thing out in public, I may feel less inclined to just automatically put my headphones on, because now my sensory need is visible to other people. Whereas when I'm at home, I'm not like exposed to the public. But if I'm in public and I need to use sensory stuff that's like visible, it's a lot more vulnerable, because now you are showing other people what your needs are, as opposed to like maybe like an emotional need that you can hide away. Visible needs are a lot harder to deal with, because you are communicating to other people like, this is something that makes me different from other people, and this is a need that I have, and now you can see that need. So it's just a lot more vulnerable. And I think that's the thing with masking, right? It's like, it is the privilege of being able to hide those things and pretending like, well, yeah, just hiding those things so that you don't have to be exposed to other people's judgments. But it comes at a cost, right? So masking, it comes at a huge cost to your own health, and it will burn you out and lead to a lot of worse things. But it is an ability. It's like a precision tool. It's not something that you can just use all the time, because it will just burn you to the ground and leave you with nothing. It is a tool that like it's useful to use in very precise situations to keep yourself safe if you have the ability to mask. But for people that don't have the ability to mask, people that are more like maybe higher support needs, individuals that their needs are just always visible to other people. God, that sounds so hard to always be visible. They just don't have the option to hide that the way high masking people do. That must be so hard, it's almost like it feels like you're like undressing in public. It's just so vulnerable. It's like you are exposing a need that you have to other people because it's visible now. It's like people can see it now, so I don't know. I guess that's all I was going to say about that. But anyway, I am trying to treat my at-home time as kind of similar to like when you're going through a burnout and like realizing like maybe some of the FOMO that you might feel with like not being able to go out or do things. It's okay because this is a temporary thing. Like, it's not like I don't like going out and doing things. I do. It's just now I realize that when I go and do those things, I have to do it differently now. And being at home is an opportunity for me to reevaluate moving forward with my life and realizing that like when I go and do things now, I get to do it my way. And that needs to look different than how I used to do things. Like before, sometimes like I would just like try to schedule a bunch of things on my weekends, and like I think for some reason I just thought that was good, or like I thought that was fun, but like it was pretty exhausting. Even like getting out and doing physical activities outside, like hiking or stuff, like it can be enjoyable for like the certain aspects of it, like the exercise and getting fresh air. But like when you pack your weekend with a lot of stuff, like it's also really exhausting. And yeah, just like realizing that like I don't have to do it the way other people do things. Like I don't have to live my life according to other people's standards of what they think is good or like healthy. I think that was the point I think I was going to make about socializing, that like just because you're alone doing something, it doesn't mean you're unhappy. And I think there's a lot of I think that's a big stigma that kind of permeates our society, is like being around people is automatically better. And I do agree, being around the right people and being around the right people in the way that you want to be around those people is great. I agree, but just going out and forcing yourself to do things just for the sake of getting out and being exposed to things, if you're autistic, it's gonna come at a huge cost. And if you're not accommodating yourself the way you need to, it's not gonna be good. So I think it's totally okay to just like say no to things and do it the way that you really want to do it. And if people don't get that, that's on them. That's not on you to try to explain. You don't have to do things just because other people think that you should. So that's my video talking about spending time at home. It's kind of a time to just get grounded, rejuvenation time. And if you feel like you're getting isolated, maybe there's other ways you can connect with people. Like, for example, for me, before the diagnoses, I used to think that socializing online was somehow like unhealthy, like almost like a replacement for socializing in real life. But like I realized that I actually really enjoy it to a certain extent. Like it's a great option to add to your social life. Like it serves its own purpose, and it's not like I don't like socializing with people in person. It's just like there's other ways of fulfilling social engagement than just the neurotypical standards of social engagement, and carve out like your own way of socializing. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe you have like a group that has like a thing online. That sounds really like generalized, but like maybe there's like a support group and they have like an online, once a month they meet and just have like a little Zoom or something and they talk about just their lives. Like I love doing stuff like that. I don't do it very often, but when I feel like doing it, it's available to me, and it's a great way to just like talk to people for like an hour about stuff that you actually relate to and that they understand that, like finding those like little subgroups that are specific to things that you actually relate to. That's a great way to socialize, and you don't have to like go out and find people. You can find people online and like find little, groups and stuff. And even like reading, I feel like it's kind of it's not really, it's a very indirect way of socializing, but it's also like a way for me to get to know the writers that I read, their works. Like, that was a terrible sentence, but like I've been reading a lot of fan fiction, and I love reading other people's perspectives on like certain characters that I read, because I just think it's so fascinating to learn other people's takes on like the story or like a character that I know, and like they take the original characters and they have their own take on it. And like some writers, they're really good and they're excellent writers, and other people, they have like, they come up with a really creative storyline. And I just feel like it's a great way to get to know that person as a writer and their perspective, and you kind of learn a bit about like people in that way. It's not direct, like you're not I'm not like messaging these writers on like Instagram or anything like that, but like I don't know, it's just like it's kind of, it is like a, I think it's okay to call that socializing, because you're getting to know people, and maybe you're not doing it at the same time as that person. You're not doing it in real time, like engaging in a conversation with that person, but you're still getting to know something about people. And I think it's okay to call that socializing. Like it's not very direct, but like if it feels fulfilling, then okay, that's like, you're not as isolated as you might think if you're like feeling fulfilled in that way. Does that make sense? I don't know. That's just something that I've been enjoying lately. All right, I think I need to call it on this video. I've kind of discussed all the topics I would like to go over about being at home, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about being at home more. And if other people feel like they've been at home a lot and you feel mixed feelings about your time at home, I do too. I have mixed feelings about it too. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that it can feel isolating, but it can also be a time to reevaluate and to enjoy the time, enjoy the opportunity that being at home is giving for you, and realizing that maybe it's just a temporary thing. Like maybe it's not that you don't like doing things with other people. It's just you need a time to take a break. And maybe that takes a lot longer. Maybe it takes months. Maybe it takes weeks. Maybe it takes, I don't know, maybe you spend a lot of time at home and it's like a year of your life of just like being at home a lot more than you used to. But it's like you clearly need that because you didn't used to do that, and now you're like giving yourself the break. It's like what I was saying about socializing. Like maybe when the world is a bit too much, all you have to do is like, hey world, like I need to take a break. And you just come home and you just sort of stay at home, and that is not giving up. It's self-care. You're taking care of your needs, and I think that's great. And it can feel isolating on the surface, but like realizing that time is also serving a different purpose. It's like it's like giving yourself a time to reevaluate what your needs really are and how you want to live your life moving forward, so that when you do go out and do things, you can do it with a lot more intent now and do it in a way that really serves your needs, as opposed to maybe how you used to do things where you would just go out and just be at the whim of the world. I don't know if that sentence made sense grammatically, but I think that makes sense. Being at the whim of the world. You're just kind of taking back a little bit more control, and maybe going out needs to look differently. The way you used to do things, maybe you can't be that person anymore, and it's hard to change those like perceptions of yourself sometimes, but I think in the end this is better because you're kind of like you're really tapping into what you really need. And it is hard to be visible in public unmasked. That is really hard, especially if you have ADHD and you struggle with RSD, rejection sensitive dysphoria. I didn't realize until the other day like how much that really, really impacts my life. I had no idea how deep it went. And it can be hard. Yeah, even when you're like around people that you like theoretically are like safe people and that you like know historically like they're pretty understanding, it can still feel really hard to just open up and unmask around people that are not autistic. Because maybe you're just very, very sensitive to rejection and you have ADHD and you experience, I don't know, do autistic people also have RSD? I'm not really sure. I think that's more of a ADHD thing, of like that difficulty with regulating your emotions. It's kind of just like 0 to 100. Like it's hard to have a range of like the middle range. It's kind of like your emotions go from 0 to 100, the same way that you like think about executive function. It's very like, the camera lens is like very, very focused on one thing, or like it's super ultra wide angle lens and everything is in focus, and it's like task paralysis. I think that applies to emotions too, and that can make it really hard to unmask in public. But if you can start to show up for yourself a little bit more authentically for what your needs are, that can only be good. Right? You know, it's like you're taking care of your needs. So, yeah, so that's my video about being at home, and you're not a social failure because you spend time at home. Maybe it's just really good for you. And I'm just here to remind you that it's totally okay, and you're not giving up on yourself because you're not going out and doing things. Maybe you just need to do those things differently or accommodate yourself, and you're just figuring out what that looks like for you because you used to not do those things because you didn't know. And now you're giving yourself a huge time to just take a break and reevaluate and be like, you know what, maybe when I do want to go out, I will wear my glasses, or I will have headphones on. Or if you don't have headphones, maybe you use earplugs, because I mean, those are really inexpensive and work really well. So, yeah, so that's my video about being at home. So if you're at home watching this, then I hope you are having a good time at home.